Hello everyone, it's Micah. Welcome to week 5 of our reaction series. Every Monday we are going back 1 year and talking about reacting to the number one song of that year. We've finished up the 2020s. We've worked our way backward to 2020. Last week's number one song of 2020 was Blinding Lights by The Weeknd. Now we're back into the ancient pre-pandemic days of 2019, before we knew what was about to hit us, so to speak. And way back in those days, we had a pre-pandemic superstar, Lil Nas X, with his novelty hit Old Town Road, and we thought Lil Nas was going to be in a novelty act as well, but he has managed to parlay his 15 minutes of fame into a legitimate career in entertainment and popular music, and he's currently teasing a third album, or I guess a second album, depending on how you classify the things that sprung up around Old Town Road at the time he first came out. And a lot has happened in the past 4 years. And just thinking about Lil Nas X, this is before he came out. This is before we really knew anything about him. The song was bigger than he was for a very long time, before he established his own personality and showed that he was more than just this novelty song. Now, that's one thing for discussion. Do we really call this a novelty song? What do you think? Like, since he's now released a full-fledged album that wasn't a novelty album, and he's about to release another one, apparently, he's proven himself to have staying power. So do we need to rethink calling this a novelty song? Was this really just too clever for us to really comprehend at the time? Well, I think a review of the video and the song right now might be useful in helping answering that question. So let's look at the video. Music, except background music. At this point, we haven't even gotten into the song, but I think this shows clearly that Lil Nas X had his head in a different space from a very early point in his career. He's just as much a performance artist as he is a musical artist, and that's why it doesn't really seem superfluous that there's so much of an intro. What is it, like we're about a third of the way into the video and we haven't started the record yet. That reminded me a lot of the scene in the Black or White video by Michael Jackson, when George Wendt came crashing down in his armchair, and then the song started. And I think the song's about to start, because from what I recall, the meat of this video is the culture clash from him coming in from the Old West into a modern urban neighborhood, and how, I mean, he was just talking about outsiders, being an outsider in the area he was at in 1889 with Billy Ray Cyrus, and now I think he's going to find himself an outsider in this realm as well. And maybe that speaks to what the song, for all its silliness, is about underneath the surface. So let's get back and actually hear some of the song this time. Okay, so at this point, this is the part of the video, I believe, where, well, it looks like he just bought himself an updated cowboy outfit, and after finding himself out of place in the Old West, he now finds himself out of place in the hood. So, I mean, I think this meditation on outsider status and the different ways that the different cultures intersect and collide is a key part of what the song and what the video is about. Even though at the time in 2019 this was just seen as a earworm mashup of hip-hop tropes and Western tropes, it also kind of reads as a meta commentary about the arbitrariness of the different social conventions that we have. There's nothing really that different in hip-hop culture, and in its embracing of outlaws, its embracing of behavior that's not socially acceptable, or at least certain people frown upon the behavior, and it's like everybody is strange to somebody, and at the same time there's a commonality across different cultures and different subcultures that you wouldn't really necessarily think of on your own. And I'm not trying to say Lil Nas X is some sort of genius and was the first person to ever think of this stuff, but I think him being who he is, and especially considering that he ended up coming out a year or so after this, and it provides a whole lot more context to why these sorts of themes would occur to him and appeal to him in his music, as random and as silly as it may seem. That music video is clearly a piece of comedy, down to the ending where Chris Rock is comedic riffing over the credits. It's a funny video, and it's full of great just slapstick comedy moments. And it's one interpretation of the song in the video is that it's just a lot of fun. It's a clever, or maybe just a very obvious mashup of hip hop and country, and that's one way to look at it. I don't think there's any great meaning in the lyrics, and obviously this is not a song that is about musical prowess or nobody's trying to reach for any notes. This is a song about, it's a mood, it's a vibe. It's more performance art than it is hardcore music. And Lil Nas X did the original version of this song, if I remember correctly, did the original version of this song, I think, on his computer, and isn't in, without any formal training. He just pasted some stuff together and bought a beat and maybe a loop, and I don't even know if the original guitar is from anywhere in particular, or if it's just something he got out of GarageBand or something. But I want to say it was a DIY record, and just the fact that these layers kept coming on top of it. Well, let's get Billy Ray Cyrus to feature on the song. Let's make this big budget video and put all-star cameos in it, and let's just go all out with it. And the fact that these layers emerged on top of this really simple concept of just throwing two musical traditions together, it was a moment in history. And who knows? I mean, we're still only about 4 years removed from when this came out, so we still kind of get it today, but who knows, in another 30 or 40 years it'll just seem to be like one of those quirky things, like why the heck was hula hoops such a big thing. I understand why it was the biggest song of the year. There's nothing like a good novelty record that's just a lot of fun to bring people together and get people on the same page. Like when the song was out and the song was going #1 week after week after week, there were so many think pieces on what the heck was going on that this song was so popular. So there's nothing I can say that I'm sure was not already picked apart in detail over the nearly half a year that this song remained on top of the charts. So I guess I'm trying in vain to make a new observation about it. But it is a fun record, bottom line, whether there's a deeper meaning to be discerned from it or not. And it certainly launched a career of someone who's very important from a pop culture standpoint in today's world. So hats off to Lil Nas X. I consider myself a fan for several reasons. He's from Atlanta, which, in case I guess there's no reason anybody who's viewing this would necessarily know that I'm shooting here out of my condo in Atlanta. So I always root for the hometown people to make it big, and the fact that Lil Nas X is he seems to me to be a bit of a nerd and a bit of a contrarian and a smart aleck, and he definitely vibes off of that. And because he's not taking it too seriously, he's an easy target for people saying that he's not a real musician and they don't take him seriously. But it's exactly those people that can sometimes punch up and really surprise you at times. I would like to, at some other point, I wouldn't mind reacting to his version of Jolene, which I think is startlingly effective. But at any rate, let me not spend too much time gushing about Lil Nas X. What do you think? What do you think about the song? What do you think about the way that this guy has become a part of pop culture in the way that he has? Let me know in the comments. And if you have any suggestions, any videos you'd like me to react to, always feel free to drop those in the comments. Thank you for joining me for the Monday reaction series, and we'll be back next time. Until then, remember to like this video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel, and make music better.